So early this morning, I watched this woman's YouTube video where she disclosed that her husband raped their 4-year-old daughter. And if you look very closely in words, she wrote out that within the first couple of months of them being married, he actually raped her 4 times. Now, as you can see, her entire platform is based off of her being a new trophy wife and her teaching other women how to become one as well. So of course I went to some of her previous videos to see how her and the guy actually met. And lo and behold, Shira 7 was the guiding tool when it came to her choosing her spouse. So her and her husband first met online. It didn't work out. She ended up meeting another guy whom she moved herself and her 2 kids into his home because he was paying all of the bills. Once she realized that he was just kind of tolerating the kids and she really didn't see a marriage coming, she decided to end things. Now, during that process, her now husband contacted her to see how she was doing. She told him that she had just ended things with her then boyfriend and was moving out of the home, and her 2 boys were going to be needing a place to stay. So she was asking him if he could volunteer his place of residence. Now, surprising to her, he said that the only way that he would do that is if they got married. And she was so ecstatic that she bought him a ring first to make sure that he was serious. Now, keep it in mind, not only was she a product of grape, but she was also raped by one of her neighbor's husbands. So this isn't something that she's unfamiliar with. But I do believe that on top of her idolizing marriage and being a kept woman, the enemy used that against her. Because here you have this beautiful woman who ends up with this man who's 20 plus years older than her. You move your kids in with him hastily. Y'all get married within a year. You have 2 kids by him after being raped 4 times within a few months. I mean, it's just so much trauma wrapped up in a beautiful present. But this is why we should never use other people's lives as a guide on how we should live ours. Because you never know what's going on behind closed doors, clearly. And as a mother myself who is unmarried, speaking to other unmarried mothers, marriage is not a need, it is a want. That was never a promise that God gave us. It was an option. And although you may desire it, you should always move with grace, discernment, but never out of desperation. My prayers goes out to this woman, her daughter, and their family, and I hope this man rots in jail. Y'all have a great day.
I watched the Trophy Wife's video, and as a mom myself, I watched the Trophy Wife's video, and as a mom myself, my heart absolutely breaks for her and her family. But I love that this has sparked a conversation about the detriments to the sprinkle mentality.
If anybody marries somebody after 1 week, they dumb. I'm sorry. Sprinkle. If you dumb enough to do that, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry. But if you're sitting out there, you learned everything from me. Did you learn how to be smart? Did you learn how not to be desperate? You didn't learn from me. Did you hear when I said stop being desperate? Did you hear when I said don't be a pygmisha? Did you hear when I talked about background checks? Did you hear when I talked about all this other stuff? About not dealing with men if you have kids until they're old and grown enough to speak for themselves and be in school and whatnot. Did you not hear when I said all of that? Don't blame me. I tell people all the time, don't say my name if you are desperate and being pygmisha. Don't claim me. If you are desperate and you're not smart enough to get the bag, flip the money, have options. If you stupid, don't claim me. If your IQ is low, please don't claim me. I teach women to be smart, not desperate. If you're desperate, don't claim me.
I watched the Trophy Wife's video, and as a mom.
And I learned quickly that just because someone looks like they have it together does not mean that they have it together. And typically the things that that person is probably doing to get money is not sustainable and probably not something that you would want to be involved in. And after learning quickly that everything that glitters is not gold, I happened to come across Shira7 on YouTube, and she completely changed my life. And she basically taught me what a high value man is and what to look for when trying to find a husband. So I ended up taking my sister's advice and signing up for eHarmony. Yeah, she recommended Match, but in my spirit, I felt eHarmony. I don't know why. It's just something told me to do that one. So I ended up signing up for eHarmony. I created a profile, and I think the second person that I matched with was the man that I'm married to now, my husband, my wonderful husband. And it was very different. My husband and I have a 20-year age gap, and he was not the first older man that I dated. I actually dated someone like 10 years older than me, and that was just a bust. A lot of people have told me that I'm very mature for my age, so someone 10 years older than me just wasn't a big enough age gap for me to vibe with. It just wasn't, yeah. And so when I met my husband, I knew right away almost, and people say that, but it was definitely true. I know it sounds cliche. Just from our first date, it just felt natural. Um, I felt like I just had known this person already. It was so comfortable. So we went to a really nice seafood restaurant and it was great. It was an amazing first date. And mind you, I think we both were kind of just dating different people at the time. And that's definitely something that I recommend if you're looking to, find a husband, is not just dating one person at a time. It's not good to put all your eggs in one basket, but we had a great first date, and I think he ended up asking me to be his girlfriend on the first date, and I said I would think about it. I know that the universe guru talks about how you shouldn't fall into the girlfriend trap, and it was kind of something that I just intuitively knew, like, I'm not just gonna agree to be your girlfriend just after meeting you, because I know that you just want me to be your girlfriend so that you can get in my pants. So I didn't agree, and we were talking, but then for some reason we kind of stopped talking for a little while, and we both were dating other people and doing our own thing. And then I had gotten into a serious relationship with somebody, and I ended up falling for the girlfriend trap. But that guy had really been investing a lot into me and doing a lot for me, so I kind of felt like I had to agree to be his girlfriend, because he asked me multiple times, and I finally agreed. So after me and him broke up, well, let me rewind. So me and him ended up breaking up because he just didn't really vibe with my oldest son, who was 5 at the time. I could tell that he was really just putting up with my kids. He didn't really embrace them. Um, sometimes, we as mothers can tell like someone's just being nice to our kids for the purpose of being with you, and they're not necessarily invested in your kids. Themselves. And that's what I felt like from him. So it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel like a family, the kind of family that I was wanting. So I ended up breaking up with him. And we were living together. I know. We were living together. And I just like packed all my stuff and left. And it was crazy because the next day, my husband, my now husband, reached out to me and was like, hey, how are you doing? And I told him, I just got out of a relationship, and I kind of told him a little bit about why. And he was telling me like, oh, those are my boys. And he had genuinely really connected with my kids, and he was not the kind of man that was just being nice to them to get to me. Like, it was very genuine. And that was one of the things that I really loved about him. That was something that stood out about him versus the other men that I had dated, was he really embraced the fact that I had children because he wanted children. And so, he was talking, my lease was going to be ending very soon, which is why I went ahead and moved in with my person that had became my ex. We started living together, and I told my husband, I was like, hey, it was so embarrassing to admit, but I was like, I need a place to stay because my lease is ending and I just broke up with my boyfriend, and maybe even if it's just like for a couple weeks, it's okay. Just while I look for, somewhere else, because I hadn't planned on needing to find somewhere else. And he was saying, well, if you're going to live with me, it's going to be as my wife, not as my girlfriend. And I was like, well, how spontaneous are you? And he laughed and he said, very spontaneous. So then I was like, right. So we started entertaining the idea of getting married, like immediately. And I, didn't want to get my hopes up. So I just said that, he's saying all these things, but I'm going to see what action that he takes. And so I had just got paid, and I was like, okay, it seems like we're really talking about seriously entertaining the idea of getting married. So I'm going to go and get the wedding ring. We were talking about getting married like the next week, and he was out of town in Colorado, so we hadn't seen each other. This is all talk over the phone, over FaceTime. So I went and got his ring. I think I paid like $300 for it. It wasn't like a super flashy ring like the one he has now, which is completely a lot better. But I went and got his ring, and the next time we talked on FaceTime, I was like, I did something. And he was like, what did you do? I was like, I got your wedding ring. So he was like, no, you didn't. Show me. So I showed him, I said, yeah, I actually did it, you know. I don't know if you were really being serious, but, you know, we're talking about getting married. So I had a really bad habit of like spending money. And I was like, if I don't get the ring now, then I'm not going to get it. So I went ahead and got it. And that put the fire under him to, I guess, really go and look for my ring. Well, let me rewind. So then after that, I think it was like the next day, something told me to go online and check my eHarmony profile. So I went on there and I saw that he had updated his picture, and I was like, oh no, this dude is playing around. Like, I'm glad I didn't spend a whole bunch of money on this ring. Like, he was just playing. And I screenshotted it and sent him a picture, and I said, it doesn't seem like we're on the same page, so yeah, I'm done with this. And he texted me, he was like, or I think he tried to call me and I didn't answer. And he texted me and he was like, no, I'm serious. I am going to marry you, in caps. And I think that evening he like ended up going and buying my ring. Yeah, he went and bought my ring. And the ring that he got me is not the ring I had now. It was a nice ring, but it wasn't nearly as big as the rock that I'm currently sporting. But when he showed it to me, in my head, I said, it's not about the ring, it's about the marriage. And I definitely think that that's something that you ladies should keep in mind, is that if a man is going to propose to you, don't make it about the ring, because that can really turn a man off and make him think that that's all that you care about, is having a big ring, when it's more important to have the marriage. And I knew that in my heart. I was like, all right, I'm not going to say anything about the size of the ring. You know, it's still a nice ring. I'm going to take it and we're going to get married. So we ended up getting married the next week. Everybody was shocked. I randomly called my mom, my grandmother, hey, I'm getting married in a few days. We got married at the courthouse, because I told him I don't need a big wedding. Rather spend that money elsewhere. And we had a really beautiful wedding reception in DC, at a really nice restaurant. It was gorgeous. So yeah, that is how I ended up getting married. But I think that also something that I want to let you guys know is that becoming his wife and really being the kind of woman that could just get a ring like that, took work. At that time, I had really become a better version of myself, a better version than the woman that was dating thugs and, living in some kind of secular lifestyle. I had to become the kind of woman that a man would want to take around his colleagues and or his mother, and be the woman that's adding value to him just by standing next to him. But yeah, I know it's kind of a interesting story, but I also helped two of my sisters to get married. They both got married in less than a year as well. So I'm really good at knowing how to get women the ring and to get the kind of men that you would be proud of. So if you ladies are interested in learning more about how to become a trophy wife, then please click subscribe. I would love to have you here. Stay tuned. We are going to be giving all the tips, all of the information that you need to become the best version of yourself. And I learned quickly that just...
Hi ladies, hi trophies, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. If you hear any noise in the background, that's the new baby. A lot has happened since the last time that I recorded. I think the last time you guys saw me, I was in my second trimester, and yeah, I think I did post an update in the community section when the baby was born. And I said that I would be back soon, and that was a few months ago now. I thought that when I came back on here that it would be to maybe do like some kind of newborn favorites or meet my new baby or something like that, but unfortunately, it's been a little over a month since I had to end up leaving my husband. I honestly don't even really know where to start with this, just because it's just such a hard topic. And I honestly thought that by the time I got on here that I wouldn't have any tears left because I've just cried so much. It's like I built this channel and this whole brand around being this man's wife and trying to teach other women how to attract good men and provider men and all these different things. And I truly held my husband, or saw him, as the bar for what every woman should, type of man that, or type of husband that every woman should aspire to have. And I didn't realize that the person I married was actually going to be my biggest nightmare. So basically, when I first met my husband, as I've already talked about in another video, I think it was my single mom video, I explained, a little bit about how we met. And I really thought that that man was my Prince Charming. So when I first met my husband, I thought that he was my Prince Charming. I thought that he was my knight in shining armor, and he portrayed himself to be this amazing, upright, righteous Christian man. And I believed him. I think shortly after we got married, and this is something that I haven't talked about, I started noticing like certain things changed with him. And I just started to see a few things that I didn't like, but I honestly thought that some of these were things that I could get past. It was like sad to even say like I could get past some of these things. I don't even know where to start. 6 weeks ago, I was changing my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, and I noticed that when I changed her, she was red and very sensitive. And immediately, my first thought was, did someone touch her? Oh God. Gosh. So I asked her, I said, baby, did somebody touch you? And she ended up saying it was Daddy. I felt like my world ended on that day. My husband wasn't home at the time when she told me, but I knew he would be coming home soon, so all I could do was just say, don't tell him that you told me. And I just instantly started trying to think of how I could get my kids out of the house, because I knew if I confronted him or asked him about it, that he would just lie, and that he would probably just continue to keep doing stuff to her, but just become more covert or more sneaky or whatever. As soon as my husband got home, he was actually picking up the boys from school, my 2 older boys from school. As soon as he got home, I told him that I was gonna go Halloween shopping with my sister, because I just needed an excuse to get out of the house with all the kids. And I knew if I said something like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, that it would be suspicious. Like, why am I bringing all the kids, and like packing things, like things that we would need and things like that. So going Halloween shopping was the best thing I could think of to just hurry up and get the kids out of the house. I'm sorry, I had to get myself together. So when I got to the hospital, they basically told me that we had to go to another hospital because they didn't do physical exams, like that kind of physical exam there. So a police officer escorted the kids and I to another hospital where they were able to evaluate my daughters. It ended up coming out that he had actually been touching both of my daughters, who are only 2 and 4 years old. It still feels like a dream. Like, when this first happened, I just kept waking up every day and just hoping that this was a dream. Because it's literally my worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare. I myself am a product of RAPE. That's how I came to be. And was also, abused as a child by a neighbor's husband. And I specifically prayed to God that my children would never, ever, ever have to go through this. And I'm just not quite sure how this happened, why this happened. I just don't know how he was able to get away with it and so sneaky, because with my own trauma, I watch my kids like a hawk. Like, I don't like them sitting on people's laps. None of that. And he knows how much I cannot stand men like him. And to think like I couldn't even go to sleep in my own house and know that my children are safe. Just by me going to sleep, my children were left unprotected. So I don't know what the future of this channel is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to change the name or what.